we media practitioners, I say we because I was in that medium, it is inherent upon us to be responsible for fair play, for objective reporting, and for getting 2 or even 3 sides to a story.
But you were okay with it initially, right?
I expressed my reservations during the interpellations. Eventually, it was a unanimous decision. In short, every senator agreed to pass it on 3rd reading. And I thought that during the BICAM, when both houses of Congress pass it, then I would be in the BICAM, that we would be able to put all the concerns of all media establishments and institutions that would not make it a very difficult law to pass. But then after hearing all the complaints and all the fears, then we realized, at least some of us, that it was not right to pass it, that it was really prior restraint, this right of reply bill, and therefore I withdrew my support for the measure.
And not just you, several other senators. But why was it so unanimous, though? I mean, was it initially just sounded like a great idea?
Well, there could be good points when it was being discussed. They were citing media practitioners who were not with any credible organization, who were stringers or independents, so to speak, but did not really, were not schooled in the craft or didn't have licenses, and they would just put up papers, let's say in the provinces, and attack political personages. So it was protection for those in public office and businessmen, etc. So the author, Senator Pimentel, must have had a point. This all came out in discussions, but eventually the overriding concern really was prior restraint.
Why do you think Senator Pimentel doesn't understand that part?
No, I would not want to cast aspersion or judge Senator Pimentel for why.
Well, how come he doesn't? Why do you? Oh, okay, but
I think he would be in a better position to defend the bill which he authored.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him here then. Now, you use the Constitution to back up your claim that no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech or of expression or of the press. Were you not aware of this part of the Constitution when this was? Of
course I was. But as I said, there was a discussion on the pros and cons of the measure, and during my interpellations, I already expressed my reservations about it, but I said at the proper time, I would, in the bicameral conference committee, we would put all the necessary protection. But then again, we saw that it was, there was overwhelming sentiment, and it made sense that as long as the code of ethics was really respected, that media organizations must police their own ranks. I realized it was difficult to implement, because if you would criticize, let's say, 10 senators in your show. So should you have, at this time, 10 senators replying to what you said? So it was difficult. As a producer, as a former journalist, I thought it would be very difficult to implement.
Oh, yeah, a newspaper could collapse. I mean, if we're using up a lot of space in this and not using it for ad space.
But then again, the inherent responsibility of a media practitioner towards fair play, responsibility, objective, comprehensive reporting, because sometimes this is ignored too.
They can flex a little power. All right, thank you very much, Senator. We'll take a break. When we come back, we can ask Senator Loren Legarda if she's running for president next year. That's a very big question for her. Stay tuned. We are live here on ANC. This is IMO. Don't go away. Welcome back to IMO. We're still here with Senator Loren Legarda on the couch. If you have any questions, anything, you can feel free to call us, 415-2272, local 4416. We'll try to leave it up on your screen there. All right, the million peso question, senators, are you going to run for president?
You know, Mo, the presidency's destiny. No matter how much you plan and no matter what kind of organization or financial resources you have, if it's not for you, and even if you don't want it, if it's for you, it will happen. I will declare and make my decision at the proper time. In the meantime, I'd like to continue my work. And for me, the best preparation for the presidency is doing a good job. And if the clamor of the people continues to be this way, then yes, I will run.
But you said it's destiny. you almost seem destined that you should run. I mean, considering how much people love you. I mean, like you said, whether you want to or not, the numbers say you should.
That's true.
It's not your call anymore. It's more like, if what you're saying is true, then it's our call whether you're going to run for president. If we still believe in you the way we do in our numbers, then we're almost making the decision for you.
That's true. Because the person does not decide for himself or herself. It's actually the people. So at the proper time, which is in a few months, that final decision will have to be made.
Okay, what's the appeal of being president for you personally?
It's a personal sacrifice, Mo. It will be a personal sacrifice of having to work 24/7 and sacrificing family, personal life for the sake of our people.
And you're willing to do that?
What excites me about it is a job at hand, especially during this global financial crisis when there is a problem of joblessness and poverty, especially during this time when there is a challenge of cleansing our image in the international community, getting rid of that image of being corrupt and dangerous. There's this challenge of making the Philippines prosperous, bountiful, proud once again in the community of nation. There is a challenge of providing food for the 40 million Filipinos who live on 50 pesos a day. There's a challenge of covering the backlog of school buildings and textbooks. There's the challenge of raising teacher salaries. There's a challenge of creatively renegotiating the 47% which goes to debt service by getting into debt for nature, debt for education, swap agreements with our debtor institutions.
Does it break your heart then when you see our administration seeming not to step up to the challenge?
Yes, of course. As a leader of our country, as a citizen, as a human being, it breaks my heart to see one child die of a disease where he doesn't have to die. It breaks my heart to see that there are millions, maybe hundreds of thousands of women who die from birth. And they don't have to. When I see that there are so many unschooled children, when it is their basic constitutional right to be educated, at the same time that government funds are being squandered because of corruption.
Exactly. Now, okay, how about this? Say the situation calls for where your party will ask you to run for vice president. Would you accept that where you are right now?
Mo, I know exactly what ails our country. I know exactly what to do to cure it. I have the wherewithal, sorry to be immodest, to do something about it. And I can only do it if I am the captain of the ship of state.
Gotcha. Understand. Why would you make a good president?
Number one, because I am honest. Number two, because I work very hard. Number three, because I believe that the next leader must have passion and compassion, which I've had since I was a child, since I was born. Again, you're asking me these questions. Probably our viewers will think, Bilib Cecilio, she thinks so highly of herself, but you're asking me and I have to answer you.
No, and you have to be a strong person.
I feel strongly about my work, my dedication to my work, and the sacrifices I had to go through to get here. And I believe that, okay, I'll be very simple about it. In 2010, bawal ang bobo, bawal ang tamad, bawal ang corrupt. I'm not kidding. We are in an ICU situation.
I agree.
We are in an emergency situation where we have 90 million Filipinos, half of whom are hungry, and our image is tattered, battered, and bad. We need someone who will be able to converse and be respected by the community of nations, by world leaders, somebody who can be irrespected and inspire and provide hope and inspiration to the youth of our country.
I'm big on inspiration. I'm with you there. I absolutely believe that, because sometimes I think that maybe the country does run on its own, regardless of who's in power, but if you're inspiring, it runs at a better pace.
You're correct in saying that the country runs on its own.
It has its ups and its natural downs.
A dog there, the bureaucracy will run. And all we need is a leader who will not steal.
It's
as
who will inspire.
Will inspire. But that's not enough. We need a leader who will have the real mandate, who is loved by the people, who knows exactly what to do because of inherent competence and hard work. At the same time, even if you have the competence, if you don't have your heart in the right place and the passion for the people.
Gotcha.
Passion and compassion.
Senator, we have a phone call here from Norman. He's from Rizal. Norman, you're on the air. You're talking to Senator Legarda here.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Speak up just a little bit, Norman. We'd appreciate it. Thank you. Good evening.